Good evening, I am Tomas Guevara, and this is the channel Rewritten Reality. If you want to be well and informed and have a better understanding of your life, it is time to join this channel. Please subscribe immediately. I have been publishing episodes every Tuesday. The number 15 was programmed for Tuesday 25th, and it is called Transition. Yesterday I decided to change this rule and I published episode number 16 about reincarnation. I did it because the information I am getting is putting the world upside down. Today I am publishing the episode number 18 about Alzheimer, a supposed disease that I explained in the episode 15th. I am subscribed to a few magazines and organizations that report the latest news about science. One of them is Science Alert, published today, Friday, July 21st. Carly Casella reported the following: neurologists at a memory clinic in China diagnosed a 19-year-old with what they believe to be Alzheimer's disease, making him the youngest person to be diagnosed with the condition in the world. The male teenager began experiencing memory decline around age 17, and the cognitive losses only worsened over the years. Imaging of the patient's brain showed shrinkage in the hippocampus, which is involved in memory, and his cerebrospinal fluid hinted at common markers of this most common form of dementia. Alzheimer's disease, AD, is often thought of as an old person's ailment, and yet early onset cases, which include patients under the age of 65, account for up to 10% of all diagnoses. Almost all patients under 30 years of age can have their Alzheimer's explained by pathological gene mutations, putting them into the category of familial Alzheimer's disease, FAD. The younger a person is when they receive a diagnosis, the more likely it is the result of a faulty gene they've inherited. Yet researchers at the Capital Medical University in Beijing couldn't find any of the usual mutations responsible for the early onset of memory loss, nor any suspect genes when they performed a genome-wide search. Before this diagnosis in China, the youngest patient with Alzheimer's was 21 years old. They carried the PSEN1 gene mutation, which causes abnormal proteins to build up in the brain, forming clumps of toxic plaques, a common feature of Alzheimer's. Cases like this latest one in China pose something of a mystery. None of the 19-year-old's family had a history of Alzheimer's or dementia, making it hard to categorize as FAD, yet the teenager had no other diseases, infections, or head trauma that could explain his sudden cognitive decline either. 2 years before being referred to the memory clinic, the teenage patient began struggling to focus in class. Reading also became difficult and his short-term memory declined. Oftentimes, he couldn't remember events from the day before, and he was always misplacing his belongings. Ultimately, the cognitive decline became so bad, the young man was unable to finish high school, although he could still live independently. A year after being referred to the memory clinic, he showed losses in immediate recall, short delay recall after 3 minutes, and long delay recall after 30 minutes. The patient's full-scale memory score was 82% lower than that of peers his own age, while his immediate memory score was 87% lower. Long-term follow-up is needed to support the young man's diagnosis, but his medical team said the patient is altering our understanding of the typical age of onset of AD. The patient had very early onset AD with no clear pathogenic mutations, neurologist Jianpeng Jia and colleagues wrote in their study, which suggests that its pathogenesis still needs to be explored. The case study, published in February, just goes to show that Alzheimer's doesn't follow a single pathway, and is much more complex than we thought, emerging via numerous avenues with varying effects. In a statement to the South China Morning Post, the neurologists who described the patient's case argued that future studies should focus on early onset cases to further improve our understanding of memory loss. Exploring the mysteries of young people with Alzheimer's disease may become one of the most challenging scientific questions of the future, they predict. The study was published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease. In my episode NR15 that will be published next Tuesday, I explained that the Alzheimer disease it is not a disease. That the people that choose these situations are persons that want to do the transition being alive. They do it because that is the fast way to shed all the beliefs before disengaging, meaning before death occur. The scientific community thinks that the younger a person is when they receive an Alzheimer's diagnosis, the more likely it is the result of a faulty gene they've inherited. In the first episodes I explained that the person that decided to be born in this world has the choice to align with the parent's genes. It is obvious here that he decided not to align with his parents' genes. Also, there are not faulty genes. Every one of us direct the functioning of our genes. The genes nor our organs and neither our body have their own consciousness. We direct the consciousness of our body, that is a true, not a belief. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Have sweet dreams.